We're live.
Not
We
quite.
are.
It says we're live on my end.
Mm-hmm.
That happened last time where it told me before you.
All
see it
right,
as
all
well.
right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our kind of informal webinar here. I've got Nancy and Andrea with me, and we are here to chat with you and bring some insights to you today that we really think you're going to value. And Andrea was one of our beta members of our first Ignite run, and she was more than happy to come chat with you guys today to share some of her big ahas. And we really appreciate you doing that for us, Andrea, but also just help others kind of really get some insights today, I think is a big part of why we're doing this. So, Andrea, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of tell people a little bit more about you and what brought you to sign up for Ignite?
Yeah, I can do that. I've been practicing for about 5 years, and I have 2 offices. I'm in a doctor's office 2 days a week, and then I call it the closet office, which it's just me, and it's just basically a door with a room. But I love it because it's just me. And so I've been seeing clients for those 5 years, and when I kind of caught wind of Nancy and Lydia, I am really a type A personality. I love to love on people, but I want to do it in the most perfect way, which is it can be really helpful for people and also a little bit detrimental because I want them to know as much information as possible so that their life and health can be completely different. And what I found was that the deeper I got into my practice, and it was true even, I guess, in the beginning too, but I didn't have the eyes to see it. But now as my kind of been practicing for a while, I have the maturity to go back and see like, oh gosh, that's really missing. I wasn't doing a good job of coaching my clients towards being able to make those changes necessary. And so I can't remember if it was Nancy or Lydia that said, and they were talking about this program. They said, it's important. Your clients don't come to you for information. They come to you for transformation. And for me, that was like, I don't know, like somebody slapped me on the face and was like, wake up, lady, stop just burying people with the digestion process, and I could see my clients as I'm walking through the north to south, and we've all been trained on that, or talking about the adrenal glands and, as their eyes are rolling back into their head because they're going to leave my office and not remember any of that stuff. And it's important, like, I think it really is important to, put my hand on my liver so when I'm talking about their liver so that they know where their liver is. I think that's important, but it wasn't necessarily the thing that was going to turn the knob, like to make that shift and change. So when Nancy and Lydia said, gosh, we really want you to have impactful tools to create transformation for your clients. And I think I get a lot of people who come in with weight loss, but that's really not what their main issue is. You start digging into those stories and it's like, oh, you have a high level of inflammation and there's a lot of other things going on. So I wanted to have those tools. And when I signed up for the program, I'm not really a reckless, or like I said, I'm kind of type A. I'm not really like a risk taker or anything like that. And I have taken a lot of classes. So I've taken the Bio-Individual Nutrition course. I'm currently in the Restorative Wellness program. I'm a firm believer of continuing education, but that was all information. It wasn't something that it was a way for me to have more knowledge to be able to have a deeper level of understanding, but it wasn't the small little tools that was going to create sustainable change in my clients' lives. And that's the piece for me in my practice, kind of this last 5 years, I feel like has been missing. And it's not that I didn't know how to do it. It's that I didn't have time to make everything that I needed in a succinct way to make these things happen. So that's when I was like, oh, to heck with that. I'm just going to do it. Why not? I mean, I didn't know. I honestly was just like,
you trusted us.
Whatever.
Yeah. So what does it look like when you see your clients now versus before the program? I'm curious. And how is that helping you scale your business now and avoid burnout and be able to grow?
Yeah, the one of the very first things that you kind of walk through in this program is they give you a framework for how you would interview a client. It's almost a little bit of a vetting process. So it's kind of understanding like the level at which that your client could commit to the process of nutritional therapy. And I think we've all been there on some level of you take on the client thinking, oh, I can help them. But the reality is that they're not really ready to be helped or have the bandwidth to be helped. So it really allows you to, that's the first thing that's kind of changed. It's allowed me to have a better understanding of the person coming in the door. How much am I going to be able to create change for them? And is it, or do they really want the change that I can create for them? Because some people don't. They think they do, but they don't. And then I don't waste my time because that's frustrating, right? We've all had those clients that were like, yes, I can help you. And they're like, yes. And then 2 days later, they're like, why did you take all this food away from me? You're the meanest person ever. And you're like, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
You feel sick when you eat this. So.
Yeah. So what changed about you as a practitioner in the way that you show up for them? So, because I know we talk a lot about chasing clients and chasing them down and making it, if they don't succeed, then I suck.
Right. Yes. And I always would own whether my clients were successful or not. I always took that on. And now I think in this program, it's really taught me that the responsibility is in the client. The client is the one that has to show up, but I also need to show up. So that's the other piece of this for me is coming at 100% for my clients each time that I have an appointment with them and really giving them the best version of what I have to offer them, but understanding that I use this analogy before and I'll use it again. I explain to my clients like this. I said, listen, do you remember when you learned how to drive a car? Your parent took you to an empty parking lot and you've ridden in the car 100 times before. So it's not like you didn't have an understanding of how the car worked, but this time you're in the driver's seat and I'm in the passenger seat. And I'm going to teach you how to do those steps. And it's going to be laborious. And you're going to have to check your mirrors and the lights and all of those things. And it's going to feel like a lot of work in the beginning. But the reality is that someday I'm going to get out of the car and you're going to be driving the car without me in it. So in this process, it's like giving them that understanding of they're in control, even though I'm helping guide them in the beginning. So it just reinforced that for me, for clients that. And then it gave me permission to get out of the car.
Yeah.
When I wasn't there. Like, I don't need to be like, I'm not going to see you for 2 weeks. So I'm out. Like I'm leaving the map. I left you the map and you have water. You got your water, right? Plan ahead. Did you pack some snacks? Good. Yeah. Okay, check your blinkers.
Yeah.
Get some gas.
See me sometime.
Yeah.
So you guys, we got to meet with Andrea for 12 weeks weekly in our calls, and she is awesome and she has the best analogies ever. I'm like, whoo, I'm gonna write that one down. That's a good one, girl. I love it. Yeah. And so do you guys want to talk a little bit about maybe kind of go through some of the weeks? This is a kind of a watered down outline because there's so much more than this, but Lydia and I had to pare it down a little bit.
I just want to say that in each of the weeks, and this is where, I also purchased the Restart program. So I have that in my back pocket as well. And that's a done for you program. So if you're a practitioner that are like, I really love that Restart program because it's all done for me. This is that in coaching. So each week when you walk through a lesson, you get handouts, you get a transcript of like things that you could be saying, questions that you can be answered. I think the thing about each week, and we can go through the weeks, like you said, but one of the things is, I can't remember who said it. It was Tony Robbins. He said, to get the right answer, you have to ask the right questions. And I wasn't asking the right questions, but in this program, it shifted for me. I was like, I knew what I wanted to ask the client, but I wasn't like driving it in the way I wanted to. So that was super helpful to have ask these questions. And then I started doing it and people were giving me the answers I really wanted to hear.
Hey, this works.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. It was like, okay, we were adding the outline to our landing page. And it was like, we need to have, a sentence for each module. And it was like, this is really hard because we jam-packed it with so much stuff because we wanted it to be, everything everybody would possibly need. And
so that's been the hard part, is really relaying the value and the benefits succinctly so people know, especially our analyzers who want to hear details, right? Andrea, you can kind of speak to that.
I
what
can.
exactly is it every single week?
Yeah, I kept asking that. I was like, well, what's happening next? Like, I wanted to know, in 3 weeks, what's happening. So Nancy and Lydia obviously have, made a couple adjustments based on that. But I think and I just trusted because I at this point, I'm doing a lot of personal development stuff for myself. And that's the other thing this program made me realize. At the beginning of the year, I knew like I needed to invest in me. And if you've not walked through this 12-week program with yourself, like you're going to have a harder time doing it with your clients. Like it really, like if you decide, okay, I'm going to do this, do it for yourself first, because there are things in there that you're going to be like, oh gosh, I hadn't been really paying attention to that part of my life. And it's affecting these things, or how I am open for clients, so it really gives you, I don't know, just, it's a powerful tool and just in personal development. Even if you're like, I'm never going to use this with a client. If you use it on yourself, you're still going to get something out of it.
Yeah. Like I think that was like, we envisioned it being personal growth for the practitioner, but it ended up being, that side of it ended up being stronger, I believe, than we even anticipated. And I believe that will happen even on a bigger scale next time, because we're going to be adding a couple things to it that I think will really help.
One of the things that you have in there, can I speak about something really specific that's in there? Can I say it?
Yes,
Okay.
Go for it.
So one of the tools that I've been using, not with like my package clients that I see like but some of the like random people that are circling back. And again, I use that driving analogy. It's like they got to get off the freeway and they're at the rest stop and I'm at the rest stop and they're like, hey, wait a second, my life's out of control and something's not right. I can't remember what week it is, but Nancy and Lydia give you this thing called the Wheel of Life. And it's an exercise that you have your clients do that kind of measures all the different aspects of the client's life. And it's a good like check-in for the client. And I've even said to the wives of their people that have come in, and it's like, do this and then give a copy to your spouse or the person, your significant other, and have them do it too. And then trade it and see, kind of like where's your wheel out of balance? Is it in the same place as the person who you're sharing a home with, and giving them that. And boy, oh boy, the feedback on that is just been unbelievable. People saying, I didn't know my husband was struggling in this area, or, I didn't really realize how flat of my tire was flat in this one area. Like,
oh, totally. Yeah.
What, just because we tend to be people who are, we only can hold so much, we can't be perfect in every area of our life. And, as a result, we become neglectful, and that just happens. It's not necessarily a bad thing that happens, but having these little tools to kind of check in with yourself and check in to see like, how am I doing in total when you're feeling a little off? Nancy, I think, says it kind of shines a light. Like our job is to shine the light. Not that we were going to have the answer, because if they come back and say, I'm weak in my area of spirituality, well, that's not our place to coach them in that, but it is to say, well, that's interesting. What can you do? And putting it back in their court and having them understand, how they can make those changes. I think that's big, the shining the light piece.
I think every week is that in its own way.
Right.
Shining the light.
Mm-hmm.
That happens in, week 6 of the program. I've used that content at different weeks too. I've used it at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I've used it in many different capacities. I put it in week 6 for a nutritional therapist because the primary goal for a nutritional therapist is going to be around food and healing.
Right.
And in week 6, you have, if you've seen somebody 6 times, you have rapport with them.
Mm-hmm.
They're trusting you, and it's going to feel safe and welcome to be able to offer them, that exercise, and they're going to be a lot more open to it.
Yeah.
So the weeks previous to that are sleep and cravings, which come in the same week, and self-sabotage. So that's leading up to
Mm-hmm.
the end of life. So in week 1, I think I'll just kind of go through this a little bit. It's really defining your vision. If you don't have a vision, you're not going anywhere. And that's just the truth. You have to have a vision.
Mm-hmm.
And a vision can be just something as simple as, I want to work part-time as a nutritional therapist. That's the vision. Okay, awesome. And money. We talk about money and your relationship with money, being able to charge what you're worth, which I believe is a continual process for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
That is always evolving, right?
That's a huge one.
It's a huge one. And it's not something you just figure out and you're like, oh, I'm done. It's good. I'm good. I'm never going to raise or lower my prices again. It's a dance. It's like, okay, how can I make this work? And it still be profitable? So it makes sense for me.
Right. And I think that as nutritional therapists, and we tend to come out of school and devalue what we know because we feel like we don't know enough. And you do know enough. And when I meet with a lot of either students or recent graduates, they'll, hit me up and, can I talk to you? And absolutely, call me. Let's chat. One of the things I say is, please charge what you're worth, because when you do that, you place a value on all other nutritional therapy practitioners and consultants. Like, if you come in at a low ball, then it's going to make the range so wide. I mean, obviously it varies by what state you live in and all of that. Sure. That's, but if you're I'm close to Seattle, the house, meaning house price is $800,000 or something insane right now. So, we have to charge more. So anyway, that's we get to charge more. That's right.
Thank you. Totally. Obstacles. If you go through a program, FDN or, any postgraduate program, and you still have the same obstacles and mindset and beliefs, it will be, and those are usually the things that are preventing you from growing your business or preventing you from having a good experience. Because a lot of times people are, a lot of people that Lydia and I talk to are like, I'm doing really good and I have, 15 active clients, but I'm miserable. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to grow it anymore. I'm working overtime, not charging enough. So those are the obstacles, the beliefs and the limiting beliefs that we all have and that your clients have. So you'll see as you're able to identify those and take action on them, how you show up for your clients and your being and your person that you are. I talk about that a lot in the program, who you are, across from that phone, who you are across from that person, will change, and you'll start to attract more of the right type of client.
Right.
So obstacles are a big thing. We talk a lot about that in just the first week. Week 2 is mastering selling and enrolling clients with mega confidence and integrity. So we spend a lot of time on that, of how you, talk to a client, you get to the bottom of what they really, really actually do want. And Andrea had the perfect example of, I want to lose weight. People that come to you that want to lose weight, they don't want to lose weight. Or maybe they do. Okay, that's not fair. They want to lose weight, but they want a whole lot more. So being able to help them, kind of evoke that vision for themselves and, help them get clarity around that. And then plus being able to provide some clinical feedback. This is incredibly powerful versus someone that comes to you and wants to lose weight, and you as the practitioner are like, can I do this? I don't know. Because losing weight is kind of a slippery slope with some clients, right? Because there's got to be behavior change in a lot of cases. There could be underlying, dysfunction, physical dysfunction in their physiology that's totally preventing them from losing weight when it doesn't even matter what they're eating.
Right.
But if you can help them identify their goals and their vision around what it would look like, feel like, where other people would see if they were to lose weight and why that's important to them, then it's going to become a lot more real to them, and you have a lot more markers than just a scale. So really powerful to be able to evoke that vision with people. And so they're like, yes, I want this, and then we sandwiched the Done For You program, which this time we're all going to be going through together. And coaching each other. So we're going to add that level of self-care for ourselves. Weeks 3 to 10 are the 8-week the 8-week Done For You. So week 1 is we teach you the Ignite coaching framework, which is that coaching structure that you use in every single session. So you never leave anything out. So you are the leader in the session. So your client's not hijacking, and they're leaving, the client's not putting you in a state of disempowerment, that you are leading and able to touch on everything that client needs in that session. It also keeps it away from rapport is always good, but if you ever get a client that likes to kind of be, you end up being their friend, obviously that will happen. You will become friends with your clients. But sometimes clients come and they just want to visit, and that's not in their best interest, and it's not in your best interest. So, so keeping on task with that. And we, really kind of reframe preparation, as an active self-care. We give a very basic anti-inflammatory diet, which is similar to what we learn in TA. One thing that we do in this program is we suggest helping them stay on an anti-inflammatory diet for the first 3 weeks. And then this is something that we'll be talking a little bit more about in that 4th week, Andrea, is doing a module on helping them transition to a more sustainable way of eating. So we're not having this pattern of going on a Whole30, going off a Whole30, going on a Whole30, going off a Whole30. But it's always a good idea to give your clients, unless they come to you and they're already, you can swap, by the way, you can swap out any single diet you want. So if your client has SIBO and you want to swap out something that is more appropriate for SIBO, a low FODMAP or whatever you do for them, then you just swap it out. So this is not like, there's a lot of flexibility in it. But the goal is, for clients that are transferring to from a standard American diet, is to really help them find a sustainable way. And like Andrea so beautifully explained, be able to help them drive the car themselves in a way where they're not going to crash into trees.
Right.
Right and left. Right.
Yeah.
I
think that just to clarify for people, because sometimes you might have this idea in your head, as if you're considering, like, should I do this, should I not do this, is that this is really taking the foundational stuff that we learned in NTA and helping you balance it with mind support and self-care for your client. That's kind of the big piece of teaching others how to take care of themselves. Like self-care, there's a lot of self-care stuff in here. And some of it is so, like, you may say to yourself, this one's so basic, but it's not, like, a couple of them are super basic, but you're like, and they're so hard to execute. Why, if it was so easy, then why isn't my client doing this? And giving them and coaching them to be able to do these things.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. And that's, as soon as we get into the food part, we go right into, inviting your clients to have a relationship with their bodies.
Yeah.
The most powerful part of healing is to be able to listen to their bodies, and, listen to when they're hungry, listen to when they're full. They track, do they like what they were eating that day? A lot of clients, don't even realize when they overeat. They don't realize when they skip meals. That's a huge part of our program. What are they grateful for? What are their needs that day? Are their needs being met? Especially clients that have cravings. So stress relief, being able to manage your perceived stress too, because we know that some stress is real and some is not. And that's a really big deal. And that's something, Andrea, that's being added, is stress relief. There's going to be a little bit more on that, and even eating in a relaxed state. The next week is sleep and cravings, because we find those go together often. People are not sleeping well, disrupted circadian rhythm, disrupted blood sugar, cravings. And the cravings are also, so there's a physical reasons for cravings, physiology, and then there's emotional. And we get into that too. So being able to support your clients through that. Self-sabotage. So at some point, even your clients that, are great, they will get in their own way. And laying that out for them, part of the structure in our framework is, obviously, I won't give it all away now, but, obstacles are number 2. What didn't go well? Like, what didn't? Let's talk about, let's work through and come up with solutions for, what you're struggling with, so that it's not this model where, here's all the information, go away. Okay, see you next time. Hope you worked it out. Hope it goes okay. There should be obstacles every single week and opportunities to up level. So that's a big one. And then the wheel of life, like Andrea explained, 9 is boundaries and self-worth, helping your clients really celebrate themselves and all their wonderful qualities. Boundaries in their life, saying yes and no, that's a big one. And these are all overlap. Like, boundaries are a big part of sleep and cravings and eating. There's a very strong relationship between not having boundaries and being a people pleaser and cravings. So, feeding those emotions. And then the last one is life inventory. So you'll get to ask your client, what is it that they really want to be? Is it they want, not what they wish will happen in their life, but really what they want to accomplish? What do they want to be known for? And really what comes out with that can be really beautiful. So it's awesome. And if you're asking yourself at this point, can I do this? I'm a nutritional therapist. This doesn't make sense. Ask people what they want to accomplish in their life. I can't imagine doing that. And I think that that was the sentiment for a lot of people in this round too. Wait a minute, can I do this? And yes, you absolutely can. And we help you transition, from the clients you're seeing now. Are you just going to start asking them about what they're going to accomplish in their whole life when they've never, you've only had a clinical relationship? No, of course not. But we help you transition into that, so that you can, ask permission and see if it's something they would be interested in doing. Obviously, when you sell a package, which we suggest doing with this content, you're telling them about what you'll be doing beforehand. So they're opting in for it. They're like, yes, I want that. We teach it in a 1-to-1 format, how to coach your clients in a 1-to-1. And then we teach you in week 11 to how to scale it to a group, how to charge for it, how to market it, and pricing. And then the last one is taking your practice online and residual and passive income. And I won't get into any more because it's just a lot to take in verbally. But we do have a bunch of bonuses too with marketing experts in, which is one's happening tomorrow with Tony Teagarden. And then later in the month is Lisa for legal. And then we just had one with Marie Holden. So, and those are just going to keep growing too. So we keep adding more experts. So, so that's it so far. Tuesday, we have a webinar, a formal webinar. So you got to sign up for it. If you're not on our or we'll be announcing it in the Facebook group and on our email list. So look out for that. And is there anything else?
Yeah, I I want to hear from Andrea real quick before we wrap up. Quick thought that I had a little bit ago in light of some of the things people have been asking or mentioning, like the "Are you getting clients" part. That post yesterday, people were like, "This is my issue."
Yeah.
So I want to know from you. I know you didn't have trouble getting clients, but sometimes we have plateaus, right?
Sure.
What do you feel now compared to what you did prior that is helping you get clients in the door?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think that all three of us would talk about or say, maybe everybody's history is a little bit different, but when I very first started out, it was like this gradual increase over the first couple of years. And then I had a little bit of a plateau. And then I even had like a little slow period where I was like, oh crap, am I supposed to be doing this? Maybe I'm not supposed to do this. And then you start second guessing every decision that you make. And I'm like, but then, keep going. And then it kind of increased again. And then that's when I got into the doctor's office and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're going to be so slammed busy. Yeah, I'm busy, but it's different because doctor's office is a different climate. And then again, it kind of slows down a little bit. You have that. And I had a second freak out. And that's when I went back this year. So I'm going to answer your question, but I went back to the beginning of this year and I said, this year has to be 2017 has to be the year that I invest in me. And what I found was that by actually taking time and spending more attention on making sure that I was a better person in terms of the kind of the areas of neglect and not doing self-care things. And I'm a mom, I have 4 kids. And my oldest is 22 and my youngest is 12. So there's quite an age range and the issues and so my life, I'll say, is minorly stressful. And I found out at the beginning of last year that
only minorly.
Yeah, I did 2 amateur bodybuilding competitions and I put my body into adrenal fatigue. So I started the year off with adrenal fatigue and I thought, gosh, I need to do the self-care thing. And going back to Lydia's question, like, is there's like the slew of people chasing me down now? I'm going to be honest. No, but I have had people show up and I'm better able to say, I want to work with you. I can help you. And I'm going to, and even say to them, and I'm going to make you pay to be with me because I'm worth it. Whereas I never would have said that before. Mm-hmm. I would have been like, well, what's the cheapest I can get you in the door? And how can I make this work for you? But I started putting the emphasis on me. And as a result, my work is way more satisfying now. Mm-hmm. So that's been a shift for me. I can see it's kind of like a little bit of a tricky question for me to answer, Lydia, because my website is going through changes and I'm making some like program changes that won't actually like roll out until end of summer when I get one of those kids off to college and I have a little bit more time. But I feel better equipped to be able to handle more clients. And I think that's the other thing that every practitioner needs to sit down and have a conversation with themselves about is like, when you say you want more clients, how many more do you want? Like, what can you handle mentally, emotionally, physically, time-wise? Because some people require a lot of hand-holding. It's like sometimes for some practitioners, 10 is enough. And other times 40 is enough. And other times 100 is enough. And it's different for every person. And like, what level of care? Like for me, I really have a vision for, I'd rather see fewer people and charge them more and have more of my own time at this season of my life. Because with 4 kids, like I'm at baseball tournaments and soccer tryouts and, like the stuff that my life is made up of. And it's different for every person. I know that some of you have, maybe, you just graduated high school and this is your first thing, or maybe some of you are like, I'm an empty nester and I want this to be my, retirement thing. Good for you. Like, that's awesome. You've got way more time than I have. Like, rocket. I'm jealous. But on the client piece, I'm kind of, I told Nancy and Lydia this in a different conversation, but I'm in this space right now where I just am saying, you know what, there's more people out there to help. And I'm going to do the things that I'm going to do, and they're going to find me because I'm going to put myself in the place where I can be found. And that's the big thing, to put yourself in a place where you can be found, because people need you. Every nutritional therapist that is out there, like, there's a need for you. You're in that job because there's a need for you. So you just have to find the platform that puts you in the way of the people that actually need you. Mm-hmm. So
it's so
that's
true.
Huge. And this program, going back, Nancy and Lydia, and they didn't ask me to say this. Okay. Like, so plug your ears, both of you, but they're probably two of the nicest, most generous people I have had the pleasure of meeting. When I went into nutritional therapy, I did it because I had a family member that was sick, and I never really thought that this was going to be my gig, and it's really turned into my gig. And like, this is my gig. Like, I do this. This is not a part-time job for me. I am an entrepreneur. I am hustling and trying to make it every day. And that's, part of that is some of us, our hustle goes down and we have to refresh. And is that a self-care thing that you need to spend time on? Or is that, what does that look like for you? So
yeah,
they're like Nancy and Lydia, and they're always available to answer questions. And Nancy laughs at herself, and Lydia sings songs, everything. So it's always pleasant.
Okay.
So they're great people. So anyway, but they didn't tell me to say that. That's my opinion.
Thank you. We love you. Appreciate that.
It has been a lot of fun for sure. Yeah. So I love how you are just like really dishing it out. One last question for you.
Sure.
I'm kind of going back on things that have been coming up from other people. So things that they're kind of like questioning. And I think that we maybe have all been there, is talk really quick about if through this program you feel like you have maximized your time in how you spend it with your clients.
Oh yeah, that's so true. I think the thing that I recognize, and I actually have just started to implement a lot of the new material into new packaged people that I've gotten in the last month since starting this, but it's really helped me organize visioning for that client, where I want them to go and how I want them to get there, based on obviously it's organic, right? So, their situations change or whatever, but at least I walk in and I have a very strong framework, and I'm thinking, they're talking about something, and I think I make a note and I'm like, oh, well, we're going to come back to that. And I know that I'm going to come back to it because I have a framework that's outlined for me that, in a couple of weeks, we're going to address that. But right now we're going to focus on this because this is the most important thing today. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to have a conversation about that. Like the self-sabotage part, I kind of let that, I've been starting to let that get heavy for people, like bubbling it up and pointing it out to them. Like that's like a self-sabotage thing. So then when I talk about it in 3 weeks, we're going to talk about self-sabotage. They're like, yes, because I've been doing that a lot lately. So I've been able to like help, set it up. So
I love that.
It definitely is time saving, and that. And then the other piece on the done for you framework, I'm Italian. Can you tell I was talking to my hands? It really makes me stick into like, okay, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. And I don't run over as much. I used to think that I was being generous by letting clients run over. And then now I recognize that they're stealing from me. Like, and that sounds a little harsh, but it's true. Like, that's my time. And that's the only thing that we all have that is very valuable that you can never get back. You can't buy more time. So in a day, like you get 24, that's it.
And it's tempting to do, especially when you have rapport with clients, but that's time you could be every time is money in your business. So especially a lot of, you're a mom, I'm a mom, Lydia's a mom. If I say, I work, well, I'm probably working almost 40 hours a week now, just with everything. But, if I have 25 hours to work, which is what I was doing maybe last year, then, and someone's taking, an extra 20 minutes, 4 times a week, that's a lot of time that I'm not getting paid for. And I'm not, So it's like,
Yeah. What about prep before and after, real quick?
About prep for like client work? Oh, it's minimal. I don't have to spend as much time on it. I have this binder. Here it is. And it has all the Ignite goodies in it. Not showing you. And I just go to that and I can see everything that I want to do for that week for that client. So I have that little like binder sitting next to me and I, it's like, what questions do I want to ask this week? And it's right there. So it's very, for me, it has been time saving on the prep work that I would potentially do on a client call or appointment meeting. And then the done for you handouts, like I keep extra copies in that binder. So if I'm in a meeting with a client, I just I want you to do this. And then we're going to talk about it the next time we meet, Awesome. Wheel of life.
So you're saying
there's always content.
you value yourself more. You care about yourself more. You value your time more. You put a better point.
Yeah.
So it's like a win-win, right? So
and better boundaries. Like for me, it was because I just wanted to, be generous all the time and give all the time. And there's a time and a space for that where it's appropriate. And then there's not. And I think that just I guess what the program did for me, and I don't know if it's just where I am, because I said in 2017, I was going to work on me. But for me, it made me recognize and value my skill set as a practitioner, and then gave me tools that I didn't have, that I already, there's in a way, they're not, like I said, some of them are so simple. You're like, well, of course I know this, but to have somebody else like wrap it all up and hand it to you and say, yes, but use it like this and it's super effective. Oh, I don't have to like create all that. So nice. So nice. Like that alone, the done for you part, that was kind of the, okay, push the button, Andrea. You don't have to do anything. Chink, sold. Like, and then the ebook, hello. I don't have time to write an ebook. I'm busy. So that was awesome. You get that bonus content. That's so great.
Yeah, with everybody.
We're working on relationship with time in the next one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And speaking of time, let's go ahead and wrap up. So we are so thankful that you were willing to just come and share. And it's so evident that you love this so much that you're willing to just say, here, I want to talk to everyone about it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Of course.
It's been so much fun working with you. And Andrea's actually going to still be in the group and some other folks. And really quick, just talk a little bit about the community aspect.
I think that, it's funny is that last year I wanted to get a group of people in my local area that were like professional NTP, NTCs. So not somebody who is hobbying this. And not that there's anything wrong with that. If that's where you're at, good for you. That's not where I'm at. But I wanted to be with like-minded people who really wanted to drive their business. And I couldn't quite make that happen. So when I found this group, it ended up being other people who had that same vision. It's like, this is my job. This is what I want to do. I want to make a living at this. And so there's a couple other ladies in the group. And I mean, it's just great to kind of hear where they're at and like, oh, I'm struggling with that same thing. So there is that community aspect of, and maybe it's a little bit of a shift for people. And I'm not like, if you're new and you're like, I don't know where this is going to go, please still sign up because you'll learn a lot from the group. But everyone is so helpful and encouraging. And then you get to hear like, oh, the woman with the doctor's office and the like a loan practice still struggles with that. Yeah. There are days that I'm like, I'm frustrated, you know, like I got an email from a client and I wanted so bad to get on my little Ignite group and be like, oh, what do you think about this? Because sometimes you just get frustrated, and it's so nice to have people, and not that our NTP, NTC Facebook page isn't helpful for those things, but everybody's kind of in a different space in that. And so here it really is like that community is focused on kind of growing their business. And so I think that if you're in a place where you're like, I really want to grow my business, I feel like I have a really good foundation for, you know, what I know as an NTP, NTC, and now I want to add this second dimension. I don't really have time or the energy to put in like making it a program thing. Like this gives you such a beautiful framework. If you're just starting out, like I'm mad that I had to wait 5 years for this. Because some of that, you know, like, dang, I could have used this. I want to like go back. I am going to go back. I actually thought about this over the summer. I'm going to go back to a few of my clients that I'm thinking like, man, you need to come back to me because I have some stuff that you need to do.
That's also what we teach in the last module, or when you celebrate the last session with the client, is really keeping them in your funnel and or even being able to, you know, sell them a maintenance package or whatnot. Exactly what you're doing. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you see this as a way to fast forward your practice?
I see it a way to fast forward. I see it as kind of, if you're like ground zero, this is going to level you up to a space where you're going to get off the ground running. If you've been practicing for a super long time, it's going to give you some nuances and some elements of like your special sauce that, you know, it's going to be different than if somebody goes and just works with a nutritionist. So I think that you kind of get, there's that kind of, if you're new, it's going to propel you forward. If it's like you've been doing it for a while, it's going to level you up. And if you've been doing it even longer, it's going to give you that special sauce. So I think I think it can meet you where you are, which is the beauty of it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
For sure.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Anna.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I know you gotta jump off now.
I do. I have to go to work.
So to everyone who's watching, thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to have for you. Our cart is now officially open. We are enrolling members in the Ignite program. We would love to have you. If this really struck you and you're like, oh my word, we'd be more than happy to have you join. So we're going to have a link available for you. We officially start May 22nd, but we'll be enrolling over the next, not even 11 days. I think our cart closes the Friday before. So you have a little over a week to jump on board with us, and we would love to have you. So thanks for your time, everyone, and everyone who showed up, and we'll see you in our next webinar. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.